Hi everyone! In this lesson we will talk about 5 common English grammar mistakes. Specifically, we will focus on verbs. Do you know what are the most common verb errors in English grammar? Choosing the wrong tense. Can you find and correct a mistake in this sentence? We have played many games last weekend. What do you think the mistake is? Choosing the wrong tense. Let's take a look at this sentence a little bit closer. We have played many games last weekend. Let's see, what tense did we use in this sentence? Yes, you're right, it's present perfect. The present perfect is often used for an action that started at some time in the past and is still continuing now. In this case, the words for with a length or period of time and since with a specific start in time are usually used with the present perfect. For example, he has lived in Canada for 5 years. It means that he started living in Canada 5 years ago and he is still living there now. So what I want to say here that in our sentence we have played many games last weekend, we cannot use present perfect because we see that it happened last weekend and it doesn't have any connection with the present situation. So, what tense should we use in this sentence? What do you think? If it happened last weekend? Yes, you're right, it's past simple. We use it with finished actions, states, or habits in the past. So you can see that something happened in the past, right? Last weekend. That's why we can use past simple in here. When we have a finished time word, yesterday, last week, at 2 o'clock, in 2003, and so on. So we have the finished time word last weekend. So for sure, we should use past simple in here. For example, I went to the cinema yesterday. Yesterday, so we should use past simple. Okay, so how can you change this sentence into past simple and finally use it properly? Yes, you're right. We played many games last weekend. So we decided that the correct way to say this sentence would be we played many games last weekend. In this case, the student fails to see that because he or she describes the finished action in the past, he or she should use the past simple, not the present perfect. Even if students remember the correct form of the verb, they simply use the wrong tense to express themselves. It is important to understand what tense should be used and after use the correct form of that tense. So first, we should understand what tense should be used and only after that, use the correct form of that tense. This is how we do that. Confusing the infinitive, gerund, or base form of the verb. Let's find mistakes and correct these sentences together. She came to ride a horse. She decided to ride a horse. I look forward to hear from you soon. Confusing the infinitive, gerund, or base form of the verb. Let's begin with the base form of a verb. The base form of a verb is its simplest form without a special ending and without to. For example, what is the base form of a verb in the sentence I walk? Walk is the base form of a verb. We use the base form of a verb after modal verbs. For example, I should sleep a little more after our flight. What is the modal verb in this sentence? Yes, you're right, it's should. So if we have the modal verb and after that we have another verb, we should not use to between them. We should use just the base form of this verb. And we get I should sleep. And now let's take a look at our sentence. We have she can to ride a horse. It's a wrong sentence. Why is it wrong? Yes, you're right, because can is a modal verb. And if there is a modal verb, we need to use the base form of a verb after it. And we should remove to. And we get, she can ride a horse. This is the correct sentence. She can ride a horse. How about the infinitive? An infinitive verb is the base form of a verb with the word to in front of it. For example, to have, to eat, to see. This is an infinitive. To see. We use the infinitive with to after many regular verbs. For example, he'll always choose to eat pizza if given the choice. Can you tell me what is the regular verb in this sentence? Yes, you're right, it's choose. So we have the verb choose, and after that we see another verb, eat. So if another verb follows after a verb, we should use the infinitive form of that verb and get to eat. Choose to eat. Decide to see, and so on. For example, we have a sentence, she decided ride a horse. There are two verbs staying together in this sentence. If we see that, what should we do? Yes, you're right. The second verb should have an infinitive form. And we get, she decided to ride a horse. She decided to ride a horse. And now let's talk about gerunds. The gerund looks exactly the same as a present participle. For example, these are some examples of the gerund. Walking, eating, flying, the verb with ing, and we get gerund. We use the gerund after phrasal verbs. For example, I kept on asking for money. What is the phrasal verb in this sentence? Yes, you're right. Kept on. The verb and the preposition together make the phrasal verb. So we have kept on is the phrasal verb. And if there is a verb follows after that, we should use the gerund form for that and get asking. I kept on asking for money. Let's get back to our sentence. Can you correct the mistake in this sentence? I look forward to hear from you soon. What is the mistake? Good job! Look forward to is the phrasal verb. So the whole thing, including to, is the phrasal verb. So after this phrasal verb, we should use gerund, of course, and we get I look forward to hearing from you soon. I look forward to hearing from you soon. Please don't be confused with this particle to, because it belongs to the phrasal verb. I look forward to. Irregular verbs. Can you find a mistake in this sentence? She knowed him very well. She knowed him very well. Irregular verbs are verbs that do not follow the normal patterns for tense and past participle. While most English regular verbs use the ending ed for the past tense and participle forms, irregular verbs each have their own unique tense forms and past participles. Let's take a look at these examples to understand it better. So we have the regular verb to ask. The base form of this verb would be ask. When we want to use it in the past tense form, we would say asked by adding ending ed, right? And when we want to make past participle, again we would add the ending ed and we get asked. But let's take a look what happens to the irregular verb. The base form would be know, past tense form knew, and past participle known. So we have two absolutely different forms for past tense and past participle, and we did not add the ending ed. Irregular verbs are one of the hardest parts of the modern English language because they are all a little different. Since there is no formula, English speakers have no choice but to memorize each one, along with their special verb forms. So you just have to memorize them. Let's get back to our sentence. So we wrote, she knowed him very well. Can you correct the mistake now? Yes, of course. Know is the irregular verb. And the second form of it is knew. She knew him very well. This is the correct way to use this sentence. Subject-Verb Agreement. Can you find a mistake in this sentence? The train ran all night long. The train ran all night long. What do you think? Subject-Verb Agreement. Subjects and verbs must agree in number. Please keep it in mind. They should agree in number. If the subject is singular, the verb must be singular too. If the subject is plural, the verb must be plural too. Let's take a look at this example. The train ran all night long. What do you think? What is the mistake in this sentence? Yes, of course. The subject, the train, and the verb run do not agree in here. So let's make them agree. The train runs all night long. If you would like to learn about subjects more, I have a lesson for you. Subject and predicate, parts of a sentence. Please check it out at the link above. The train is the singular subject. So this subject is singular, right? We have one train. If the subject is singular, the verb must agree with this singular subject too. So the train is it, so we should use the verb in singular. So we get runs. The train runs all night long. This way we get a correct sentence where the subject, the train, agrees with the verb runs. Omissions of verbs in sentences. Which verb was omitted in this sentence? It not hot yesterday. It not hot yesterday. Omission of verbs in sentences. The verb to be can be omitted by English learners. This is a very common mistake in English language. For example, we can say, it not hot yesterday. What verb was omitted in this sentence? Of course, it was the verb to be. If you would like to learn how to use the verb to be in English sentences, I have a lesson for you. The verb to be. Please check it out at the link above. And we should get, it was not hot yesterday. We should use the past form of the verb to be, right? Because we have yesterday and we get, it was not hot yesterday. So far, we have learned 5 topics that you could make some mistakes in. Which topic would you like me to explain in detail in the next lesson? Choosing the wrong tense, confusing the infinitive, gerund, or base form of the verb, irregular verbs, subject-verb agreement, omission of verbs in sentences. Please choose one that you are the most interested in and write it in the comments below. And I will create new lessons based on your feedback. Thank you for learning English with me. If you enjoyed this lesson, please like it and subscribe to my channel. See you soon. Take care.